According to some people on the internet, Oscar Piastri is copying Lando Norris by having a grandstand named after him at the Australian Grand Prix next year, after Lando had his Lando stand at the British Grand Prix this year, and that is simply ridiculous. So let's talk about some of the drivers who have had grandstands named in their honour. Let's start with Daniel Ricciardo, fellow Australian. So Daniel Ricciardo in 2016 had a grandstand named after him, and he became the 10th driver to have a stand named in his honour at the Alberts Park circuit. And next year, Oscar Piastri will actually become the 6th Australian to have a grandstand named after him. So some of those drivers in the past, it is a little bit different because they weren't driving, given that the first race at the circuit was in 1996. But yeah, there are many drivers who have grandstands in their name at this circuit. The 2009 German Grand Prix was held at the Nürburgring, and the turn 6 corner was actually the Sebastian Vettel corner, and there was also a special grandstand package which included seating in the Vettel grandstand. In that race, actually, Mark Webber won the race and Sebastian Vettel came second, but it was a great showing from Zeb. Daniel Kvyat 2014. So Sochi Autodrome actually announced that they would have a grandstand named in Kvyat's honour, the Turn 4 grandstand, because it was their inaugural race in the country, and Daniel was a Toro Rosso driver, but it was also his rookie year, so that was a pretty cool honour. Max Verstappen has had many grandstands named after him. We've got Belgium 2017, Barcelona 2023, Austria 2016, Zandvoort 2021 when F1 returned to Zandvoort. There's probably more. Sergio Perez had the Checo grandstand at the Mexican Grand Prix in 2017. Of course, Lewis Hamilton. Actually, the whole international pit straight, so the start-finish straight, was renamed the Hamilton Straight after he won his championship in 2020, and those grandstands there are named in his honour. Of course, Charles Leclerc got a dedicated grandstand in Monaco in 2020 and also in France in the same year. Both Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon in France 2022, Carlos Sainz in Spain from 2016. Fernando Alonso had a dedicated stand in 2017 in Spain. Lance Stroll has had a dedicated stand in Canada from 2018, Grandstand 24, and of course Lando's stand at this year's British Grand Prix. This isn't an exhaustive list, and those dates are when those drivers first got those grandstands, so some may have changed since then, you know, whether they were permanent or temporary or for a promotional event, but basically, Oscar is not copying anybody by having his own grandstand next year. You know, it's his home Grand Prix. I think he deserves it, and he could win the championship this year. It would be amazing to see a dedicated Oscar Piastri grandstand at his home Grand Prix next year. I mean, I think that would be so cool.